How's it going, YouTube? Chris here, my home theater. Got a brand new video for you today. Let's have a little discussion about what is the 0.2 in 7.2. There was a video that was recently put out, and it was talking about misconception of the LFE channel. Now, I'm not going to discuss that video. Everybody knows who it is. Awesome video. I agree with it 100%. But I had a comment on one of my videos today that got me thinking. I do a lot of thinking when I see comments. But what the comment said, it was on my tour video. He said, I enjoyed your video. He said, but you know there is no 7.2. So I replied back to the person. I said, you know, I get what you're saying. I seen the video. But if there is no 7.2, then manufacturers have been lying for years. So now, with that being said, I said more, but we won't get into that. Let's go back. Years ago, I'm talking about many years ago, when home theater was out, you know, you had stereo receivers, and then ProLogic came around. Well, ProLogic came around, it's just an extension of stereo, gives you some surround effects and so forth and so on. So in the 90s, I guess the late 90s, I don't have the exact date in my head right now. Then what came out was called AC3, which ultimately was called Dolby Digital. Now, when this came out, it had designated channels. It had a front, a left, it had a left and a right, a center, and two surrounds, and a 0.1, which was your LFE. So that is a 5.1. And then, of course, later on, they came up with Dolby Digital Surround EX, THX Surround EX to be accurate on that. And then, of course, DTS ES Extended Surround came out. So that was your 7.1. And of course, they had some 6.1s. We're going with the 7.1. Well, everybody knows everybody wants more bass. So back in the day, everybody took their subwoofers and a Y cord and just added multiple subs. Now, the manufacturers are pretty smart. So what they said, and I don't have the dates exactly. So what they did is and I don't know who was the first manufacturer to do it. The first one that I remember seeing was Onkyo. They came out and they said, we got 7.2. I said, 7.2? Well, I knew the 0.1 was subwoofer, so I knew the 0.2 was subwoofer. So what is 7.2? Well, 7.2, all that meant was that they had two sub outputs. So instead of having to hook up one sub and a Y cord to have two subs, now you can hook up both subs to your receiver without a Y cord. Now, most receivers are still only going to recognize one channel. Now, I know that was covered in that other video, but I'm going to cover a little bit of that. Most receivers are still only going to recognize the one channel. Even though it says 7.2, it's not a stereo, it's not a dedicated two-channel LFE. It's one channel just split to give you two inputs, or outputs, I should say. So now we fast forward to now, 7.2.4. If you look at any manufacturer out there, plastered on the front of their receivers, my Pioneer right now says it's a 9.2. Some receivers, you pay a little bit more money, they'll say 11.2. And if you go real high end, it'll be 13.2. Well, we all know that the 13 channels is your floor channels and your height channels. Now the 0.2 is still your LFE, your subwoofer channels. Now, with Dolby Atmos and DTS-X, every channel, as we talked about it in another video, what is DTS-X Pro? And Atmos is the same way. Every channel is designated. There's a sound for every channel. So if you got 13 channels, if you got your floor channel, 7 channel, and then your 6 up channels, or however many you got, every one of them channels is independent from one to another. They can put a sound in this channel, in this channel, in this channel. There's independent. But your LFE is still going to be basically one channel. That's what was covered in the other video. But it still don't take away, it don't change the fact that it's still a 0.2. That, I mean, if it's a lot of manufacturers are pushing it. So there is a such thing as a 7.2.4, a 9.2.6, a 11.2.8 or whatever, however you want to say, there still is a 0.2 because your receiver has 2 sub outputs. That's all that means. It's still one channel. It's not split up into 2. There's no point in having, I wouldn't think, separate LFE channels because you want it to be one rumbling effect during explosions. You don't want bass over here in one corner, not the other corner. That's the purpose of having multiple subs, but they all need to work together as one. So I understand that. I just feel like I wanted to cover this in a video. See what you guys think. Do y'all agree with what I'm saying? I mean, that's just what I take from this. A 7.2 is just, it's 7 independent channels. 0.2 is still, it's one channel, but it's 2 outputs. And that's all that means. And then when you add your last 0.4, that's your height speakers. All those are independent. Your LFE is one channel, even though it says 2. I used to, when I posted my videos earlier, I would say I had a 7.3 because I had 3 subwoofers. I had a 7.3.4. Well, in all reality, that is what I had. I had 3 subs, but there was only 2 coming out of the receiver, and the other sub was off of the other sub. You can call it what you want. In essence, it's 7.1.4. It can be confusing, but we don't need to overthink this thing, okay? If the manufacturer says, hey, it's 7.2.4, it's 7.2.4. That's just the way I see it. A manufacturer may say, well, you know, most people want to put 4 subs in. So let's put 4 outputs. Well, if a AVR manufacturer decides to put 4 sub outputs on there, guess what? In my opinion, it's a 7.4 point whatever you got on your Atmos. That's just the way I see it. It's not independent channels, but there is a such thing as a 7.2.4. That's what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope everybody understands what I'm trying to say. You know, that guy was, you know, commenting in my tour video that there is no such thing as a 7.2. Well, there is. That's the way I see it. All it means is just 2 outputs for a sub, but it's 1 sub. Okay? Hope it made sense. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Wanted to make this just a little short video for everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Still like, subscribe, share. Still pushing to get 1,000 subscribers. Want to give away this mini DSP-U mic. I'm going to mention it until I get 1,000 subscribers. We're going to give this thing away. I hope everybody has a good weekend. We'll